Welcome to part 2 of the video tutorial on using the logbook program. I'm going to show you how to enter flights in this section. Click on the new flights icon and you come to this page. Notice everything's grayed out right now. This is the part that allows you to rearrange the columns. In the first tutorial we talked about how you have to enter things in the order that your logbook program is going to expect them. Like if you're using Excel and you've got a certain column order, you better enter that configuration that way so that when you cut and paste the data into Excel, it's in the order that Excel expects. But typically logbooks are not laid out the way that pilots enter them often. So we can rearrange these to be in a more convenient order for ourselves. I'm a flight instructor, so I've set this up the order that I typically do it. If you're a private pilot, you're going to want to rearrange it probably. If you do a lot of instrument flying, you might have certain columns earlier than others. It just depends on the kind of pilot you are. All you have to do is just drag from this right-hand column, you pick the little triple lines, and you grab any one of these and you just slide it to be where you want it. When you've got that all ordered, we'll hit New to start a new flight. Now see the text turned white, and it automatically filled in the date, today's date. If in fact you're entering a flight from yesterday, you could just go back into the date picker, pick a different date and hit save, and it'll record that instead. I'm entering my student's name, but even as a private pilot you might want to have passengers so that you could keep track of who you flew with. Click on that. It takes you to a little picker here where you can select people you've flown with before, or you can enter a new person's name up here if you want. So we'll do, maybe we flew with a new student today. And we hit save, and he shows up here. Now the next time we go to do a flight, he's on the list, and in fact he's the most recent on the list to make it easy to pick him. Sometimes you'll have people that you're never going to fly with again. You haven't flown with him for a year and he's cluttering up the list. You could remove him if you want. Just hit remove and yes. It's not going to remove him from previously recorded flights. It's just removing him from this convenience list. So next thing I usually do is sit down with my student and talk about what we're going to do on this lesson. So I'll enter how much time we spent doing ground, and then I'll enter which aircraft we're going to fly. So in this case, you can see on the right side we have tail numbers, on the left side we have make and models. And you might think that you have to pick both. That's not quite how it works. The idea is the program knows that when you flew this aircraft, it was an R-44. The reason for having the left-hand column is it's a way to cut down on the number of aircraft you have to look at. If you only fly one or two aircraft, you're not going to really need this feature, but someone like myself, I fly a lot of different aircraft. It's convenient to just see the R-22s or just see, say, the Bells or the R-44s, and from that I can pick the one that I'm going to fly today and hit save. From allows you to fill in your takeoff location. Now, because I'm a helicopter pilot, I've got helipads enabled, and you can actually see that the closest airport or heliport to our current location, 4.7 nautical miles away, it is in fact a heliport, and that's why this is green. But if you're an airplane guy, as we talked about in part 1, you could just turn this button totally off and you'll never see the heliports. But even if you're a helicopter pilot, you can turn off the heliports to help you find just airports. So we're closest to Moffett, we're only 5 miles away, but San Jose is 5.2 miles away, and so forth. When you find the one that you want, you hit save. You can enter your own identifier. Currently the program just has US public use helipads and airports. So if you're overseas, you would just enter the identifier here and it'll go in. The next thing is to start filling in some of the times. Okay, so we go fly, say we fly for 1.2 hours. What you do is you hit this button in the middle and you enter 1.2. And that puts it in like a clipboard. The idea being now we just go, we gave dual and a helicopter during the day, I was PIC, total time 1.2. This is because I hate, like, when you fill in your paper logbook, having to write the same number in many, many columns, and I didn't want to have to keep having to go to the keyboard and come back. So this is much, much quicker. Landings, how many landings did we do? Let's say we did 3. Just hit this 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Or you can go into here and you can slide the slider up to 10, or you can actually click in there and you can enter. Maybe you did a lot of landings on this flight. Cross-country time, night time, and so forth. These all work basically the same way. So you enter those all in. Now, let's suppose that you were interrupted by a phone call, or you wanted to go, I don't know, listen to some music between when you started recording the information and when you're done. You can leave the program and come back, and the data that you've been entering is still there. It's not made permanent until you hit save, but you won't lose the information by leaving the program. But we'll hit save now, and now we can hit new and enter our next flight and so forth. So if you do 3 or 4 flights in a row, you might just enter it, hit save, enter it, hit save, enter it, hit save. And that is the end of the tutorial on entering data.